Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ray Tampa Podcast. Our podcast offers bold commentary on various subject matters with a laser-like focus on the truth. My name is Ray Tampa, and I'm the host of the Ray Tampa Podcast. We have in our studio Mr. Russell Cato, a retired educator with more than 40 plus years of experience in the Pinellas County schools, and Mr. Jamie Wilson III, a physical therapist, or let me say it this way, a healthcare provider with more than 25 years of experience working as a physical therapist. My co-host, my dynamic co-host. We're going to talk very much today about an article that appeared in the Catalyst magazine. And before I get to the Catalyst, let me share this bit of information. The development agreement signed by the HINES team and the city of St. Petersburg looked very much like a done deal. A done deal. The team officials and city officials were all giddy with smiles while they were promoting the slogan, quote, "Here to stay," end of quote. Nobody could have been happier than Gwen Reese, AKA Miss Gwen, AKA the Griot, AKA St. Petersburg's African-American historian, and other names. She had secured herself a big contract, consulting contract from the HINES developers. Eventually, a true man of God, Pastor Dr. Manuel Sykes, calmly said to me, quote, "All we can do now is pray for divine intervention," end of quote. Who could have imagined that a hurricane, an act of God, would tear the roof off of Tropicana Field and set in motion a set of circumstances that got us to the point we are today? No stadium deal. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Mark Parker, a writer for the Catalyst News, published an article dated March 24th. The title of his article is "Community Leader Shifts Blame for the Gas Plant Saga," end of quote. The title itself gives you an idea of who this community leader is. But we're going to go ahead and identify that person. According to Mr. Parker, Gwen Reese, quote, found Mayor Ken Welch's staunch refusal to renegotiate with a raise baffling and disappointing, end of quote. At another point in the article, Ms. Reese, when speaking of Welch, said, quote, to not be willing to even come back to the table to see if there were options. To me, that's who pulled out, end of quote. Furthermore, Ms. Reese said, quote, after her initial anger had mostly subsided, she wondered why the mayor was unwilling to sit and talk for a deal you thought was fantastic. You touted. So I'm disappointed and I'm baffled. End of quote. Quote, dot, dot, dot. This deal is done. It's dead. We weren't even given a reason. End of quote, said Miss Reese. Finally, Reese said, quote, it's never been about me. End of quote. This is laughable, truly laughable. It has always been about Gwen Reese. Always. That's what grifting is about. The grifter. Welch has been thrown way up under the bus by a former ally. Where are his strong supporters? Why aren't they offering a defense for his role in this mess? Why aren't they spilling the beans on the self-appointed, quote, respected community leader, end of quote? Where are Welch's supporters as Gwen Reese throws him under the bus? All right, fellas, let's talk about it. And again, the article is something that was printed in the Catalyst magazine. Community leader shifts blame for gas plant saga. Now, if you all remember, when they struck a deal initially, you had Gwen Reese, Ken Welch, city council members, raised officials, all sitting in Tropicana Field, taking their turns, going to the mic, talking about what a great day it is.
Yeah.
What a great deal they have. Gwen Reese, a strong supporter of Welch, a strong supporter of the Raise HINES development team. When she got to the mic, long time coming. Promises kept, or promises made, promises kept. She was talking all positive about the deal. But what she didn't say was, I got money in my back pocket.
That's the motivation.
Oh, that's the motivation.
That's the motivation.
She didn't say, I got money in my back pocket.
Right.
Why else would she turn against the mayor and say, it's your fault that this deal is not going forward? It's your fault that it fell apart. That's what grifters do.
Yeah.
Now, Jay, what you want to say?
Basically, the deal was not for the people, the residents in the first place. So they were all poverty pimping from the start. All of them. All of them. All of them that were in favor of it. So she had a motivation because she was getting Gwen Reese, because she obviously had the contract with the HINES development group. The mayor had his motivation for his own reasons. He won't listen to nobody. It was a bad deal. And
None of them were listening to anybody.
Yeah, it was a bad deal from the start. Now they're infighting, kind of like the Republicans are, the MAGAs and the regular Republicans. Kind of like that. They're just fighting at each other. And I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's over. Because it wasn't right.
Good man, Jay. What you got, Russ?
Well, it really hurts. It hurts me personally because I look at Ms. Reese and I look at Welch as two respected former leaders of the Black community. And when they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that's a hurting thing. Let me go back and say this. I think in 40 years of promises has never been delivered.
Correct.
40 years. So I felt that. But the Rays being in town, and Ms. Reese, Ms. Welch, they knew this history, they knew the background. So my thing is, don't play against the culture.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying, Jamie?
Yeah.
Don't play against the history of the culture. And I think that's what has happened here lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It hurts. What can I say?
And it should hurt because we're talking about our community.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't live in the gas plant,
Yeah.
but my mom had a cafe in the gas plant area. We attended church in the
Yeah.
gas plant area.
Yeah.
And but I didn't live there.
Yeah.
I still knew so many of the people that did live there. But even the ones that live there, they are not as pleased as
No.
Gwen Reese might want people to think they are.
Nobody.
I want to share with you because following the article in the Catalyst magazine, a lot of people offered comments.
Mhm.
I was one of those individuals. And I want to share my comment because if I'm going to share others, I need to say what I said. Transparency. My comment following that article, because Alan Delisle, former development director for the city of St. Petersburg during Chrysler's term, very respected individual. He had been saying all along, that no development agreement is perfect, but no city deserved a development agreement this bad,
Mhm.
this bad. So my comment here is, Mr. Delisle, as usual, your comments are so on point. Please be reminded that the person you indicated great respect for, Gwen Reese, sold our community out for her personal gain. She falls clearly in that crew of Welch, Driscoll, Gabbard, Big Sanders, and Gertis. They all heard your comments about how bad the deal was for the city. Yet they pushed on and on, basically ignoring what anybody had to say. And look at where we are now.
Yeah.
Money grab.
Would you say, Jay, money grab?
It was all money grabs. First of all, the Hines group, they smelled blood and water anyway. They smelled weakness from the beginning. So that's why they would even come back like this. But I am glad the mayor walked away from this. I'm very glad he walked away because it was weak. But the mayor's group showed weakness from the beginning because it was in favor of the Hines group. All of that. They had total control. Now it just so happens the roof, by intervention, the roof flew off. So it's now, I'm glad that killed it. That means it was weak from the beginning. If a blown off roof is the reason for the demise of this negotiation, then it was weak from the start. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't right. Thank you, Jesus. You did a great job ripping it off.
But Jamie, I say with all respect, the focus point here has been wrong.
The focus
The
point was
focus
wrong.
point. The
Mhm.
focus.
Okay.
See,
It's about
they
this.
focus on a damn stadium. That's what they were looking for.
Does nothing
stadium.
for the community.
Yeah, that's what. And if you go back and look, Ray, how do you account that you have gone through 5 mayors, 5 or 4,
Well, they went through 4 before Welch.
and no deal has been done?
No deal.
Number 5.
Number 5.
How do you account?
Yeah.
But I was saying early on when the deal looked promising for Welch,
Mhm.
I was saying, wait a minute, wait. Baker, 8 years in office, he couldn't get a deal. Foster, 4 years in office, he couldn't get a deal.
Right.
Kreisman, 8 years in office, he couldn't get a deal.
Right.
Welch, 2 or 3 months in office, he got a deal. What the hell?
Because the Hines group damn near wrote the whole contract, the whole deal. That's why. We
Outsmarted
gave
him.
the fucking city away. That's why.
Outsmarted him.
Yeah.
Here's another.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
And he is right. This is 2025. Is that right?
Mhm.
See, the raised lease would have been over in 2027. It'd have
Yes.
been over.
Yes.
So why didn't we bring this? Let them get away with that. It would have been over.
But check this out. another commenter after that article, because there were a lot of comments, and some of them were really good. This individual said, quote, she hopes her thoughts as a respected community leader, ...
Mhm.
Respected community leader, 3 question marks.
Hmm.
This lady fell for the scam hook, line, and sinker.
Mhm.
She's either wildly naive or took some nice donations
Mhm.
from the team.
Mhm.
Only a sucker would try to honestly claim this deal was anything but a payoff
Mhm.
for an untrustworthy billionaire.
Mhm.
She sold out any pretense of representing the community when
Mhm.
she endorsed this ripoff. So there again, people weren't happy with Gwen Reese and how she handled herself during this particular transaction.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go on and do one more, and we'll go into some other
Yeah, but let me
discussion.
say this
Yeah.
right now while Ray is saying all this. I want the people in the community to know right now, we are not out here trying to bash anybody. No one, Jamie. This is the truth.
Mhm.
Hell, here's the article.
That's the
I didn't
article.
like this article.
Right.
Here's the article.
I
Mm.
can blame Ray for this.
This is the article.
Right. Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That you know what? Greed creates articles like these. Greed. Greedy ass people selling out their communities create articles like this. They did it, not us.
And here are the comments from other people.
Yeah.
I'm just reading.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Completely got a problem.
What makes Gwen Reese think the outcome would have been any different than when the first stadium was built? The deal was always terrible for the city and the community that was displaced in the past. Affordable housing units could have been converted to market rate housing
Mhm.
for a very low buyout
Yes.
cost,
Loopholes, multiple loopholes throughout that contract.
giving the Carter Woodson 25% of what is likely to cost to build the museum was a cruel joke. How would they raise the other $30 million? Left out of the article was the fact that Miss Reese was a paid consultant.
Mhm.
Well, that wasn't left out because it's clearly in the
States.
article,
Mhm.
but for the most part, continuing, she was a paid consultant for the raise. Loss of a paycheck may be part of the reason for her anger.
Mhm.
It is the reason for her anger.
This was a money grab for a lot of folks, her included. And now this is when you step back and watch them infight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing we're doing with the political climate right now. It's
That's it, my
it's
money too.
and yeah, and the truth gonna start coming out. It's gonna be more articles with more truth after a while.
You know, people say, Ray, why is it such a divisive issue? Well, it's a divisive issue in my mind because we had city council members and administration members who refused to listen to the residents.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's
That's
right.
divisive in
Right.
itself.
Right.
These people are elected to represent us, especially the mayor. He was like divisive enemy number one. Wouldn't listen to his residents, wouldn't meet with his residents, didn't care what the residents said. And now you got former allies fighting against each other.
Mhm.
But as I said earlier, or I asked a question earlier, where are the mayor's supporters? What are they? Heck, who said anything? Have you all heard any comments or read any comments
No.
from people like
It's
Terry Scott and Renee Flowers
Mhm.
and a host of others?
Mhm.
Anybody?
You know where they at? They hiding with P. Diddy's friends. They all hiding back, hoping so they don't get no dirt on them.
P. Diddy friends.
They all hiding with them.
Yeah, all of them want to defeat
Mhm.
this deal
Mhm.
as being transformative and all of that nonsense. But now that the deal has broken up and you got allies warring against each other, they're all quiet.
And
They're all quiet.
and it's been protest after protest, and everybody knew people have been fighting. It wasn't a good deal to start with, and although I'm glad the mayor walked away, I don't pity him at all. I don't pity any of them that was for the deal because it wasn't right. It is just a continuation of the first fucked up deal.
You know what happened, Jamie? And I know you guys, poker players. What's that? What the white boy named Kenny Rogers? Is that his name?
Kenny Rogers.
Yeah. Got it over in the phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Country singer. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, speaking to that point there, the day after they met the first time was the day they should have folded.
Yeah, you gotta know when to fold.
They should have folded.
Right. People are more educated now. They're not going to go. You can't.
Exactly.
That's the thing. These people are more conscious now about their community. They're more educated. You just can't. We got the internet, man. You find out.
It's all over.
Right. So you just can't play people. And our so-called black leaders can't shit on us like they used to. You know what I mean?
But Jamie, you're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right, man. The people with the street now, they know what's going on.
And that's it. That's it. And everything, the people at the top, it's all about a money grab. I don't care what. And that's why this lady pissed off at the mayor. It's about a money grab.
Oh,
He messing with her check.
That's sad.
It
That
is
is sad. They were so arm in arm, locked arm in arm about this deal. As a matter of fact, at a city council meeting, if I'm correct, once they voted and approved the deal, the mayor went over and hugged Gwen Reese.
Yeah, it's a picture of it.
Yeah, a picture of it. Went and hugged her. He might have kissed her on the jaw. I don't know.
But go back, Ray. You remember, and you said this again a few minutes ago. When this deal was done, it was bonus giving. And they pulled the bonus back. It
was gonna be a juicy thing for everybody. But you know, God steps in and changes things.
See, the thing about it too is you had the NAACP come out talking about, oh, this is going to be great for the community. This is going to be that. And I remember inviting two of the NAACP officials to Zoom in on a call where Alan Delisle was speaking point by point of the development agreement. And once he finished, he did a real serious analysis and said what I said earlier. No development agreement is perfect, but no city deserves a development agreement this bad.
No.
Terrible.
This bad.
It's
Terrible.
They heard that.
Right.
But then they still go back in their holes. Oh, we still support it. We still support it because we're going to get $50 million to do this, $50 million to do that. They were thinking the raise was going to go in their pockets and pull out $50 million to give to them to do stuff in the community. How stupid, how naive, how ridiculous. They got played. And they again wouldn't listen to anybody.
I'm glad that you
because of greed. It's because of greed, not the people. It's not even about the residents. Hell, they shafted the residents on the first deal.
But you know, I'm going back to what Ray, here's something really disappointing. Knowing Ken Welch, voted for Ken Welch because Ken Welch knew this district, he knew this area, Ray. This is a man who knew everything about this damn area. Jamie?
I thought big things were coming, bro. I thought big things were coming with him. I voted for him.
I was ready for this.
Yeah.
For anybody out there thinking that all we did on this show for weeks and weeks was bash Ken Welch, let me tell you all, when the Raise HINES group first was mentioned as a proposed entity for this development, 3 African-American men wrote letters in support of the Raise HINES group. 2 of them are sitting right here.
Yeah.
Ray Tampa, Russ Cato, and Dr. Pastor Greg Murray we three wrote letters supporting the Raise Hines in this particular event. But our support at that time was early in the process.
it was early.
Very early in the process. We did not know the numbers and the arrangements that eventually came out. And as a result, my support, I can't speak for Russ, but my support shifted. My support shifted. And I have to say that because of the fact that there were other times that we were supporting the Raise Hines group to get this proposal. But again and again, the numbers had not been presented as we know them now. As we know them now.
You know, my support kind of stayed, to be honest with Walter, knowing that I was concerned about the gas plant area. That was baseball was never in my mind.
Right.
Never in my mind. I said, well, what the hell? Maybe we can still make this work. I go back to what Sykes says. Where's the money? Still there.
Mhm.
I'm still hurt by this one. I'm very hurt by this. 40 years, man, people have been looking for something, goddamn it. They've been looking for something and we ain't got it yet.
So now that the deal's squashed, so what's up with the money? What's going to happen with the money?
I don't know.
That's what we need to find out.
A lot of this decision making won't occur publicly until after the 31st or until the Rays send an official letter of termination.
Okay.
Because they still have the agreement
Right.
until the 31st.
Okay.
And after the 31st,
That's
then the city can say, hey,
the 31st.
it's all back to us now.
Meanwhile, Tampa's courting the team, promising them the
Oh,
world.
they ain't gonna get that.
Well, I tell you, we have a situation that's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess. I remember calling a former mayor, and I said to this former mayor, we need you. A former mayor,
Mm-hmm.
we need you. And his response was, what a mess. What a mess.
It is a mess. If he was still there, you didn't hurt him. He just take the team and just move the guy.
Right. Exactly. Because every city wanted a team, every state wanted a team. But from the beginning, and I said this repeatedly, they were out of their depth trying to negotiate this. They should have brought in professionals who do this all around the world, all around the country.
That's what I'm saying.
For the proper negotiations.
Thank you.
To benefit us so that we got a fair share in this contract.
Yeah.
They figured they could do it on their own, and that's why we're where we are. They got played. Everything was in their favor. The majority, it was in their favor, not the residents, not the city.
Remember what Copley Gertie said after the initial agreement had been made? Thank God we had all the right people in all the right seats.
Yeah.
All the right people in all the right seats. He shouldn't have been one of the voters.
No.
He shouldn't have been one of the voters.
Right.
But with that being said, fellas, here we are at the end again. Time does roll by fast. So what we want to do is say thanks to our audience for tuning in to the Ray Tampa podcast. And we ask that you do so each and every Tuesday evening, 5:30 p.m., 99.1 FM The Bird. And I want to thank my dynamic two co-hosts, Jamie and Russ, for a job well done as always. And I want to ask that you tune into YouTube. Type in the Ray Tampa podcast.
Right.
And you can see them all. And with all that being said, good evening.